The Jenn Royster Show is an inspirational hour with a focus on bringing hope to the world with the greatest healing energy known, divine love. Your host, Dr. Jenn Royster, is an internationally known intuitive spiritual counselor, energy healer, and visionary that will take you on a journey to explore the metaphysical world of healing within, the angelic realm, guided healing meditations, intuitive reads with callers, and interviews with guests that are making this world a better place. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Jenn Royster Show. It is Sunday night, September 28th, and we're live here at 1510 WUFC Boston. We have a wonderful guest with us tonight, and if you are new to the show, my name is Dr. Jenn. That's what they call me on the radio, but I am an intuitive counselor, as you heard. My doctorate is in Doctor of Divinity, and I'm an ordained spiritual minister, but I have been very intuitive from the time I was a child. So I just bring all of this right into real, true life, and it is a real thing that everybody has. Now, you're listening to a live Dream Vision 7 radio network broadcast here at 1510 WUFC Boston. This show is heard every fourth Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you are on the Pacific Coast, that's 4 p.m. for you. You can also tune into my show on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network every Thursday at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern. So take a note of that, because we're also on Thursdays, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern. To learn more and have a full broadcast for a full station broadcast schedule, go to Dream Vision 7radio.com. Now, I'm really looking forward to tonight's show for you, because I love the cards. I really do. I'm a metaphysical person anyway, and I have a lot of card decks. I do. I must have 20 of them, and I use different ones for different purposes. But today we have a wonderful guest that has created a Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck card, and they're absolutely beautiful. I have a copy of them with me, and I've been playing around with them, and they are very, very interesting, and they go into a depth working with your chakras. And we're going to talk to Tori Hartman. That is her name, Tori Hartman. And she's with us from Los Angeles today live for this episode. Now, a little bit about Tori. She is a world-renowned psychic, author, and spiritual teacher, born and raised in the free-thinking atmosphere of New York's Greenwich Village in the 1960s. Tori has been aware of her psychic abilities since the age of 8, and she had a near-death experience about 25 years ago. Tori began having series of encounters with angels that revealed the profound fables that were to become the basis of the Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards. See, that's fascinating to me, because that's the real deal. It's coming in. Now, using the Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards, along with books, classes, seminars, Tori Hartman continues to promote the empowerment of individuals and the acceptance of their intuition to make decisions. She is really dynamic. I mean, we're not going to have enough time on this show, as usual. We never do. We just love having fun here on the Jenn Royster Show. But I want to welcome Tori to the show. Welcome to the Jenn Royster Show, Tori.
Jen.
Hello.
I feel like I've known you my whole life.
I know. It is like that. But
it is.
We have a lot in common. I'm a 60s baby, too, you know.
Well, you know what? Yeah. And we have that energetic, and so everybody knows, you know, the real connection happens right before we go on the air, right? So, and we're going to share this with people.
Absolutely, because
that's our goal.
We hooked up. It was like, hey, sister. You know, we were really feeling that dynamic energy, and it's fueling one another. And I love that, Tori, because when it's real, it is not draining. It is unlimited energy we're tapping into, and that's the real deal. So,
and I love that you're saying that, though, Jen. And for those listening, what you just said is so prophetic and so powerful. When it's real, it's not draining. And, you know, I just want to say I used to do a radio show, and on it I would say, people call in, does he love me? And I go, who cares? You're miserable. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when it's real, right, when it's real, it's so, and let's do this right now. Let's you and I set this intention that everybody listening in the future and playbacks, whatever, you're going to have this shared dynamic of Jen and I, because she's amazing, and I'm so blessed to step into this energy that's elevated when it's, and here's our theme for the day, when it's real, it's uplifting.
Absolutely.
So that's our theme. There we go. We're starting with a theme. How great is that?
Oh, wow, how nice is that? Wow. And you know what? I mean, she came in like a little spark plug herself. So now you got two of them. So bless you, Brad, in the station, because he's got two dynamic, fiery spark plugs tonight. But, and he'll just end up cutting in and say, okay, it's time. But you know what? The cards are absolutely beautiful. And I mean, I'm intrigued, and I've been really looking forward to hearing the history of this a little bit, about how you came up with this.
I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite stories, especially because you said it's sports radio. So I know we've got some guys listening. So I'm going to say this: that years ago, I used to run with a crazy crowd. Okay. And maybe. And one of the guys in the crowd was this guy, Jeremy Piven, who was on Entourage, right? And Jeremy one day looks at me, sitting on a bar stool, and we're all, in the bar. And he looks at me and he says, do you really believe this bleep that you do? And I looked at him, I go, no. And he went, what? And I said, I know it.
Yeah, there you go.
And he just looked at me, and I said, the same way when you step into a role or do something in your life that's right, you know it. And I said, that's beyond defending. So what I want to say is that that's the conversation. I mean, we're about uplifting our lives, not about defending them.
That's exactly true. And it's getting past that. You really just have to dive into that at times. And, when you're trying to trust what you really want to do or what's really right for you, getting over that, worrying about what it's going to look like or what they're going to think. I mean, there's a process in that journey of learning and growing and shedding that old skin that worries about it, really.
Well, and if we go into the reality of this, Jen, which is that all beliefs, when people say to me, well, it's got to change that belief. I go, why change a belief? That's rearranging a deck chair on the Titanic. All beliefs are based in fear. So if you think about it, beliefs are fear-based. Knowing is faith-based.
Oh, exactly. Because when you know. I mean, there's nobody that can tell me what I'm doing isn't real. I have way too many validations.
Well, and the thing is that who cares? At the end of the day, and I love that we're, right now in this broadcast, we're on a sports station, because I happen to be a huge Jets fan, right? So, and from years back, I know, everybody pities me. What can I say? I mean, it's just kind of a pitiful thing to be, right? Even though I live in California. But, it's like when Joe Namath, and he was at the Miami Sports Club when he said it, some guy said, hey, Namath, you're going to take a licking tomorrow. And he said, we're going to win, I guarantee it. Later, his coach said to him, what were you thinking, right? Webb Eubank, fabulous coach. And he said, what were you thinking? And he said, you shouldn't say that. And it's going to get them all fired up. And Namath said, listen, if that comment is what they need to fire them up, we're going to win tomorrow.
Yeah, but see, that's the way it works. I mean,
that's the way it works.
Claiming, it's very similar to the I am. You're
right.
Claiming it.
You're claiming
and now exactly. You're being very clear with the universe what it is that you do want and what it is you're embracing it and you're taking it as a rightful, as a rightful heir to it.
And let's put it in real layman's terms, which is like this. I was sitting with a guy friend of mine, and he said to me, well, she's okay, I don't know. And I said, listen, if you're not leaping over the table to want to have sex with this woman, you don't want to marry her. Please don't. And anyway,
I think a few years popped up just then.
Right, a few years popped up. But that's the point, is that it is, because they know, like men have an incredible knowing. I mean, when they get into card reading and they get into spirituality, they blow my mind because we're, as women, we naturally have that relationship thing. We have that naturally, I'm going to hook into that, But men are much more practical than us. And when they get it, I have a couple guys that are working with me as practitioners, and they blow my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Because they talk to each other in a way that's, dude, you're not getting it. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. I'd never say that to somebody. But they speak that guy language,
Mm-hmm.
So I digress. Let me go back to what started all this. And I want to share with you that if you want to know what you're meant to do in life, just try and hide from it, right? So,
boy, okay, everybody listening, time out, because her saying that is so spot on.
Isn't it, though?
Yes.
And, friends of mine will say to me, and here's the thing, Jen, it's like, and at this time in my life right now, I'm single, right? And it's been a great journey, and I'm happy about that. And so somebody said, how are you going to meet this next person? I said, what do you mean? Well, what are you going to do? I said, just decide.
Yeah, there you go.
And they went, what? It's like, yeah, just because you see, here's the thing. When the Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards came to me, I'd had a near-death experience. I was in the hospital in New York, and angels came in, and they started telling me these, stories. And I was like, no, I don't want this, go away. Now, just because we've got a mixed audience today, I want to say that one of the things that's fascinating about this is that, doctors make their rounds, right? Because I'm in the hospital. I've had a near-death experience. I come back. That's a whole long story. That's a whole show, so I won't go into that part of it. But I did see the light, and I came back, and spirits started talking to me, and that's how this angel deck came. But one of the things that's important in this conversation for us is that this doctor, they're making the rounds, and I sat up in my bed, and I looked at this one doctor, and I said, you need to get your tires fixed. You should not go skiing next weekend with those tires. You're going to have a blowout on the road. Mm-hmm. And everybody looked at me, and they went, do you know each other? I went, no. He came back the next day, this doctor. He's a young guy. They were all interns, Mm-hmm. And he said, how'd you know? I said, how do I know what? Because I didn't remember. I'd had this near-death experience. I was delirious. Angels were talking to me. I thought I was out of my mind. And he said, how did you know? He said, I went and got my tires looked at. They were all bald on the inside. They were extremely dangerous.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I don't know. And he looked at me and he said, how did you know? And I said, okay, let me put it this way. This was in New York. I said, if I told you I was hearing voices, I'd be in Bellevue, right? And he went, yeah. And I said, so I don't know. And I winked, and he went, fair enough. Thanks for the message. Now, the point is that after that experience, I started having angels come and wake me in the middle of the night to tell me these stories. And I thought they were stupid. They were in the way of what I was trying to do, and I'd write them down. I shoved them in drawers. I mean, you have to understand, I had legal pads filled with these fables, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, this is insane. And I didn't know what to do with them, but I knew it was my job to protect them. And anyone, and this is a masculine thing now, and that's where I'm moving into the feminine in my life, because men understand the idea of protection. They understand of what they need to do is protect something, and I was meant to protect these fables. And I did. And I started mastermind groups when I moved to L.A. I'm from New York, and missed the East Coast, intelligentsia. And that's another conversation. But, I started these mastermind groups, and one day I pulled the fables out, and there's a whole long story to it, but basically they got workshopped. And ultimately the people in these mastermind groups went on to win Academy Awards. They went on to produce films. I mean, amazing stuff. I mean, in L.A., that's what they do. And the point is that these fables, the whole manuscript got developed over a 25-year period. And then I found the artist on the Internet one day, and I said, would you be interested in drawing this? And she said, it's going to take me a year. I said, well, honey, I've been with it 15. I don't care,
Yeah.
And she drew the cards, and one by one, week after week, they showed up in my inbox. And I spent my life savings, which was the dumbest thing that any smart person would say that's stupid. And I spent my life savings to have them published, to self-publish. Mm-hmm. I took them to China, did it myself, and in 2.5 years, I sold 10,000 copies off my website. And I put the whole thing up free on the internet, and people were vibing with it. They loved it, and ultimately, I said, I'm going to London. I'm going to get a book deal. And I found the most amazing publisher, and they helped me make it so good. They're amazing. I'm so excited about this publisher.
Oh, that's great.
And then we did the cards, which came out. I have to tell you this, and everybody listening understands. Let's all step into that energy of miracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know the miracle feeling, right? That wavelength.
Yeah, like what do miracles feel like?
Right.
You're about to tell us.
So what a miracle feels like is it's a particular frequency. So if you can dial your radio to a time when you felt something magical happened in your life, whether it was meeting the person of your dreams, it was the right deal, your team won, something happened that uplifted your energy into this frequency. Well, I have to tell you that my cards came out this June, as we're playing this out, it's June 2014, and they have been consistently number one in 3 countries since then. I've done no promotion, no cheating, no sending out a mailing to asking all my friends to buy it. Mm-hmm. The toolkit, which is the book that goes later, the follow-up book that goes with the cards, came out the other day, actually, and it shot to number one in its category, And I've done, when I say done nothing, I'm letting people decide about it.
Well, the energy is carried out there. It's happening. It's happening because you're allowing it to happen.
Step out of the way, right, Jen?
It's like kind of the opposite. When you're really working with that energy, instead of trying to do it, you're allowing or being, and this is a good example of that because that's what you're doing with that. And they really are dynamic. I mean, I've had them. I guess we booked you a couple months ago, didn't we?
Yeah, when the cards came out, you found me. You were like, I want, ooh, okay.
Yeah, and they, I've had them for a little while, and they're wonderful. I mean, I've used them in a few, scenarios just to kind of bond with them, and they're absolutely beautiful. The artist did a great job. She really did. She, I'm assuming she.
And I will say, I told you this right before. As I said to everybody, the magic happens before the show, right? Mm-hmm. And she died 6 months after I self-published them. Oh. And she had said to me before she passed, she said, I feel like there's one more card. And I said, I don't feel the card, I feel the spirit. And I have to tell you, she died at a time, by the way, the cards had come out, and people were contacting me saying, who is this artist? And I gave her name, and people were hiring her. And she died 6 months after the deck came out. And what was really prophetic about that is the idea that I feel that she became the next spirit with it, which makes it really a deck for personal expression and not dying with your music in you. Mm-hmm. She got that message out. And by the way, the back of the card is very significant for people listening, whether or not you've seen it. It's a journey of a journeyman going through the path of the chakra. And the chakra are basically 7 energy centers, right? If you all remember the rainbow, Roy G. Biv, right? Mm-hmm. And the idea is in this that, you see, in card decks, you never want that. You never want a back of a card to show that it can be a reversal. But she felt strongly about the journey, and I never changed it. So what I mean, everybody, is that when you look at the back of a card, you can see it's a generic image, so you never know if the card's upside down or right side up. In this, you'll always know if the card's reversed. And reversals, as a result of her decision, mean an energetic breakthrough in our lives. And one of the things that happened for me is that a man came to me, this is, years ago now. I was working with the cards at the time. His wife sent him to me, and he was just like, this is a guy, very successful, right? Mm-hmm. 3 multi-million-dollar companies he'd created, and each one he bankrupted. And his wife was at her wit's end. They had kids. She called me. She said, please, he's got to stop this. I'm getting ulcers. And so he came in. He said, I'm here, on duty, I was like, okay, let's see what's going on. I threw a couple cards. And long story short, what these cards spoke to me about is they also have an energy of multi-generational healing. And I said, tell me who your grandfather on your father's side was. He said, well, I never met him. He jumped out a window during the Great Depression. I said, why? He said, well, he lost his fortune. I said, do you see the similarity there? Because I think our issues, if you will, skip a generation.
Right? They do seem to connect, because that does make a lot of sense, because I work a lot with, the things that are passed through genetically. It's got to be dealt with, or it'll keep passing, or the past life, the soul retrieval kind of thing. And I see it a lot in that.
Well, and what happened with this man?
Exactly what you're saying.
That's exactly it, Jen. You got it right on. And what happened with this man was that he looked at him and he said, what? I said, well, let's put it this way. I'll just give you this, the sideline kind of, shortcut. I said, you have been jumping out of a window and surviving because you're trying to heal the wounding. See, we all have hidden agreements with our ancestors.
Yes, we do.
Said, right?
Yes, so we do.
How do you find it? And that's something.
And we are going to have to, hang on to that thought. Hold on. We're going to take a quick break. I know. See, it's going to fly.
I know. It's going to fly.
Yeah, but we're going to take a quick break. This is a great show, great topic. I'm going to put the numbers out there if anybody wants to call in and have a question for Tori. It's 866-338-9668 or 617-237-1234. Everyone, stay tuned. We are talking about the Chakra Wisdom Oracle with my guest tonight, Tori Hartman. You're listening to The Jenn Royster Show. We will be right back after the break.
Join Dr. Bernie Siegel on Mind Health Matters every first Sunday at 8 p.m., all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Bernie will draw from his inspirational personal journey, offering us special nuggets of his sacred wisdom. Listen in as Bernie reminds us to be fully engaged in life.
The Dream Vision 7 Radio Network presents Kids for Love. Join Deborah Beauvais and her young co-hosts and celebrate kids making a difference. We invite other kids to join in for spirited conversation filled with creative ideas and possibilities to start your own mission. Let's raise the bar together and cultivate a kinder world by getting inspired to help others in need. Kids for Love Project, celebrating kids that empower others. Callers into the show are in a drawing. It's every first Saturday at 2 p.m.
Join us every second Sunday at 7 p.m. for Living on Purpose with Carolyn Romano, where we explore the mysteries, meaning, and sometimes madness of life. Let's figure out together the ways we're meant to serve and become the fullest expressions of our most authentic selves. Let's figure out together how to create lives of balance, abundance, and joy. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Are you overwhelmed by other people's energy? Do you constantly suffer with emotional drain, exhaustion, or physical illness? You may be highly sensitive to energy and not aware of your powerful connection to spirit. Dr. Jenn Royster is an intuitive spiritual counselor and energy healer that works with the angelic realm and has helped thousands of empathic souls successfully release negative energies, reclaim their personal power, and thrive. Life is to be enjoyed, not just endured. Book your private phone session today at JennRoyster.com.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show, Saturdays 2 to 3 p.m. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Saturday 2 to 3 p.m., all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
J.T. Lewis is the big brother of Jesse Lewis, who died in Sandy Hook Elementary on December 14, 2012, while saving the lives of 9 of his classmates. J.T. found comfort after Rwandan orphan genocide survivors reached out to him from their country to express their condolences and share their personal stories of tragedy and healing. Inspired by the love that was shown to him, JT started Newtown Helps Africa, a nonprofit organization that helps young people in Africa and beyond who've suffered personal tragedy and have shown resilience. He successfully sent one young Rwandan woman to college for 4 years and plans to do much more, all the while inspiring many young people around the world to turn hardship into an opportunity to make the world a better place. Link on to newtownhelpsrwanda.org.
Life. We can either be bystanders or creators. Now is the time to awaken to your divine identity and the power of the I Am within. To create a joyous and fulfilled life, no matter what your circumstances are. There are answers to life's big questions, and there is a spiritual path that leads to soul liberation and ascension. Join us every third Sunday of the month at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for Prophets for the New Age with Carl and Nancy Showalter on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Jenn Royster Show. If you're just tuning in, we have a wonderful guest tonight, Tori Hartman, and we're talking about her Chakra Wisdom Oracle card deck that we have, and this is just an amazing journey. It really is. The journey is on the back of the card, and she's been sharing just the experience of how it came about, and she's such dynamic personality with a lot of energy. You can feel the unlimited, just natural flow just coming right out because it just doesn't run out. And Tori, and I love it because you feel the energy. You do. Mm-hmm. And when you are around, and I really want to make this point, people are always wondering about those relationships. If it's lifting you, go for it. I mean, if it's lifting you and you're feeling like inspired and happy, it's really that simple to know which way to go. If it's not, then you got to look at that. You got to look at some of that toxicity, or what is it that needs to happen? And sometimes people just have to go a different direction.
And let's be gentle, right, Jen? Because that's what our work is about. If you just tap into your heart, the thing is that we're afraid of finding out it's not right because we have, there's fear about, will I meet the right one if I let this go? And here's the thing. Which is what I wanted to ask you with the deck, how people would use them. So this is a great example. Mm-hmm. So, how would they use the deck for something like this? So what happens with the Chakra Wisdom Oracle is that they're obviously, we're dealing with 7 chakra. Mm-hmm. But what happens is each chakra has a special message for you. And I believe that our chakra is like our map, right? So it's a map of our life.
Right.
And we have all the answers we need inside. And I want to say this because I don't think you need me. I don't think you need Jen. No offense, Jen.
No, I like where she's going. I know what she's saying. It's about empowering a person.
Right. It's about you have your own answers. I can't stand when people say, I've got to see you again. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're okay right now. I'll tell you if I feel we need to check in. But, the thing I want to say about this is that how do we use the cards to find out if our intention is authentic.
Right.
Here's the thing, and for those of you listening, if you're in pain over a relationship or over a business circumstance, whatever, it's about going to what is that root source. So let's, for example, pull a card. Jen, do you have a question for me? Come on, you know you do.
I have a question? Oh, you know what? My question, actually, I want to go back to what we were talking about before we came on the air because we were talking about my co-host, Emmy, the Yakita. And she is, we have full conversations she absorbs and reflects back to me all the time. It's what I'm feeling. And she's had a lot of different health issues, but she's one of the most important things in my life. So
and the reason, the reason she takes the health issues on is because you don't have to then.
Yeah. See, it reminds me about the empathic thing that I have to watch all the time.
Right. And I consider myself more of an empath.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And for those listening, just to let you know, an empath, what that really means is we feel deeply into your circumstances, even though we don't have them ourselves, and we can relate at such a core level that what happens with empaths is that we can speak to you in a language that's only yours. Mm-hmm. And what makes that magical is that we can tap into feelings that you may be having and just validate you. You know, it's not about us telling you what you're feeling. It's not invasive. It's loving. So let's go to your Akita for a minute, because right before we got on the air and I said to you, I was like, okay, I got dogs. How many you got?
No, we were right on the dog lover thing.
We were on a dog moment. And I don't care whether you have dogs, cats, llamas, I don't care what you have. But here's what I want to say. I pulled one card for you.
Okay.
It's the guilt card. Now, this is interesting because it's the second chakra. Mm-hmm. And what happened when they got published by Watkins was the original cards had the name of the fable on them. But then we changed it to the key word. Now, what opposes exposes. So think about that. So the opposite of guilt is freedom.
Right.
So this is really about this little girl, this 90-pound little girl, your Akita. She has really freed you from obligation. And she's about freeing your emotional life so somebody has your back. Because I'm going to say this on the air, I'm going to say that your emotional life has been so magical for you, but it's not been supported in the way you needed from your family of origin. And it was their own inability, that's all. Because I see alcoholism, I see some, things from the past. And listen, anybody listening, it's a slam dunk to say alcoholism, right? Because 90% of the world is affected by it. But what I want to say is that it's not so important that we go into the problem as the blessing of what this card is. And the guilt card is about Saint Apricot. And she's a saint. She does everything for everybody else but herself. And one day she finds someone inside and the strength to say no. And the no is, no, you can't have my car, I need it. Mm-hmm. And even though that sounds trite, and just so you know, all the fables originally seemed trite to me. And I just want to let you know, in the card deck, the fables are shrunk down to legends, right? So it's just like a paragraph. But the full fable is actually in the new toolkit that came out, because what I realized is that when people read the story for themselves, they have an epiphany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I noticed that when I was using them, and I did that several times. Mm-hmm. I had a question about something. I mean, I've been working with them a couple of months now, and just really going, wow, these cards are great. I mean, they really are, guys. They're wonderful. I really want you to go check them out, because they go into a depth like she's describing, and we're sharing my story, and she's spot on with that. She really is. I grew up with a tough thing there. And,
you did.
Yeah, but you know what? I love them so much, and I just let it go. I mean, I've let them go their way, but I finally got to that point where, and just to help everybody know, to validate, I did have to get to that point where I had to free myself of being codependent to the dysfunction.
Yeah, because we play a role, right?
Yeah.
We play a role.
Right.
And one thing I want to say is I feel that there were some strong men in your life who did love you. And that was a saving grace for you.
Mm.
Yeah,
yes, there was.
I want you
to.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, is, and my father in spirit is on the other side, and he is very
let's look at grandparent. Let's look at grandparent for a moment. Okay.
Don't know them. That's the thing. I don't know them, the men grandparents.
Let me tell you something. We know more about our grandparents than we think. Every time I teach multi-generational healing, I find that, and my new course is Life Purpose Divination, and what I'm realizing, that is the precursor to multi-generational healing, because you see, we were given a legacy from our heritage, if you will.
Right.
But it's our job to live into the legacy we're creating.
Right.
And most of us leave a legacy and never live it. So,
that's true. That is very true, because we're so afraid to go there. And I call it just facing the dragon and going there, because I feel like, and I've done that with a lot of them, and just to share that, because I have done that a lot. And I know that you have too, because that's why we teach this. We're the wounded we all
are.
Yeah, the wounded healers, so to speak, I guess.
And I got to tell you this. I'm going to share this. This is like off the cuff. It's not rehearsed, okay, everybody? So this weekend I went to a retreat up in Northern California, and I live in Southern California. I drove up. Okay, get there. The woman says, "Oh, you're here." And I'm like, okay, and I'm a participant. I'm not the leader. Mm-hmm. And it turns out a woman in the back room had my cards. This is at a Hilton, and she says, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a fan." I said, "Oh, thank you, so nice." And we talked for a minute. I said, "Thank you." They gave me my key. She said, "Let me escort you." Well, they gave me the presidential suite.
No, we got to go quick. We're going to go off the air here in a break.
I walk into the presidential suite, and I realize this is what happens when you're in alignment. So let's talk about alignment when we come back.
Great. Hang on to that thought. Hang on to that thought, because this is a good one. This is a great topic tonight. You're listening to the Jenn Royster Show. I'm Dr. Jenn with my guest tonight, Tori Hartman, and her wonderful Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Join us every fourth Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern for the Jenn Royster Show with your host, Dr. Jenn, on a spiritual journey inward where hope and love bring healing to life's greatest challenges. Enjoy metaphysical topics, intuitive angel reads, guided healing meditations, and inspirational interviews. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Join us every second Sunday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for the Nurturing Exceptional Children with Dr. Nikki Show, where you'll discover holistic strategies to support children who have learning differences, energetic sensitivities, behavior concerns, and/or heightened intuitive abilities. Through our panel of distinguished guests, you'll receive parenting tips, education strategies, and holistic health solutions that will help these magnificent children shine their inner light to the fullest. This show is a proud member of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
The goal of the Jessie Lewis Choose Love Foundation is to cultivate a more peaceful world by creating awareness that we can choose love. By providing tools for our children and communities, we can enable them to develop a healthy level of optimism that leads to resilience. Our mission is to give people the understanding that they can choose love by living a life with gratitude, having the ability to forgive, and to be compassionate. This is a proactive effort towards mental health that'll provide children and adults with the perspective and wisdom they need to be able to navigate through life in a happy, fulfilled, and meaningful way. Our website is jessieLewisChooseLove.org.
Are you ready to be who your soul wants you to be? Join Lynn McGonigal, the founder of the Lightworkers Healing Method, as she and her amazing guests show you how to move into a life of lasting joy. Miracles happen every second Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Hasn't your soul already waited long enough?
Tune in every first Sunday at 6 p.m. for Maximum Success, the Coach Bruce Show. You'll learn success strategies to take your game to the next level from performance consultant John Brubaker. Maximum Success explores why winners win and teaches you the keys to peak performance. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Join the Mind Health Coach with Leah Marie every fourth Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Come explore with us natural and healthy ways to achieve inner peace, happiness, and an ever-present state of well-being. You're already healed. You just haven't realized it yet. When you're ready, you can change your mind and change your life forever. The power of a beautiful life is within you today. Mind Health Coach with Leah Marie is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Are you overwhelmed by other people's energy? Do you constantly suffer with emotional drain, exhaustion, or physical illness? You may be highly sensitive to energy and not aware of your powerful connection to spirit. Dr. Jenn Royster is an intuitive spiritual counselor and energy healer that works with the angelic realm and has helped thousands of empathic souls successfully release negative energies, reclaim their personal power, and thrive. Life is to be enjoyed, not just endured. Book your private phone session today at JennRoyster.com.
And we are back. I'm Dr. Jenn. You're listening to the Jenn Royster Show if you are just tuning in. And we have had a dynamic, quick hour here. And my guest tonight is Tori Hartman, coming in from Los Angeles. And we are talking about her Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck. It's been an incredible journey, and it's going so fast. I want to make sure, Tori, before we finish up and wrap up the show, I want to make sure the listeners know how to find you, the Oracle deck, and so they can learn a little bit more about this. I have all the links on my website, JennRoyster.com, for this show, JennRoyster.com. If you forget and you need to go find the links, they're up there. But what are they so they can go? They may be Googling you right now. So what are we looking for?
Oh, I can hear the tap of the computer.
Yeah, I do too, and that's why I said that. It's like there's people in their smartphones trying to do this right now.
Okay, the best way to find me is always chakrawisdomcards.com. I mean, that's going to be the best way because you can, if you register there, you can kind of use the cards and use the random shuffler free. So it's kind of fun. And then, of course, my newest thing, lifepurposedivination.com. ToriHartman.com. Let me tell you something. You'll find me any way you want. ToriHartman.com, ChakraWisdomCards.com. Easy. Easy peasy, lemon.
And you know what just came to mind? I got to say this. It's just, I love it, and I'm smiling. I think if you just looked up into the air and hollered Tori Hartman,
it'll show up on your computer.
She will hear She will hear you because she's just
my gosh,
antenna out there.
Isn't it true?
Huge. Yeah, you've got a big antenna, and the energy field is very strong because I very much tap into energy fields, and so I can really feel that. You have a lot in there that you are really going to be putting out there, it feels like, in the next several years. A lot. You're just really getting started with rocking and rolling this out there, and at a huge time when people need this uplifting, and that's what I'm about. We want to put the positive out there. We got enough of the other stuff. We want to lift this up, so let's lift it up. Let's put some energy out there, Tori.
And you know what? Right on, because I'm going to tell you something. Let's just make an agreement, everyone, right now, that isn't politics like a facade. If we just push down the frickin' facade and we say, we the people.
Oh, did you read my post from a couple of weeks ago? I said that.
No!
My show was named We the People of This World.
And that's the point, is that, look,
oh my gosh.
You know, we may agree or disagree on the way to get there, but the point is we all want the same things, right?
Yeah.
Happiness, health for our family, upliftment, education, betterment. You know, It's really interesting. I have to tell you, I have a gal that comes, and she works with me, and she brings her little boy. Long story short, he's 3, and she doesn't speak much English, right? Mm-hmm. And I said to her, you know, there have been studies, and I said this en Espanol. I won't bother all of you with my bad Spanish. And I said, there have been studies that say that if you read to your children in your language, they will be smarter. And most people who don't speak English well don't want to read to their children because they think they're infecting them with a bad energy. And I say, speak to them in Spanish, in Portuguese, whatever language, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Now, Tori, what
back
do
up.
you have? What do you have? If you could, if you could say or put out one inspirational thing to the audience right now that's listening, what would it be? I mean, what do you want to say with that opportunity to the people out there to lift them in this moment?
You have every answer inside of you.
Absolutely.
People like Jen and myself, we're tools. We're instruments, right?
Right.
It's the same thing as, don't take this the wrong way, everybody, as a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. We are the instruments of your intuition. Just like a doctor.
We're both very similar. We're about your empowerment and trusting your own intuition, not being dependent on somebody else telling you what to do. We want to give you we want you to have your own power in your own right and respect somebody else's too.
And I'm glad you're saying that, Jen, because, you know, for me, it's like I always say in a lot of my press releases and what have you, my job is to make my job obsolete. Because if you're doing your own intuitive work, which is what I want to teach you, that's what my love and my guidance is about.
Right.
If I'm taking you in that direction,
then they're doing what we came here to do. And
exactly.
It's not about, exactly. And it's very refreshing to have Tori on the air because that's very much, and people that have been listening to my show for the last 5 years, I've been on the air, they know I'm about that. They know that that's what I'm about. And if they ask me what to do, they know what I'm going to say back. They know it's going to be, I want you to trust what's in there to make that decision because I don't want you dependent on somebody telling you what to do.
So let's give everybody a tool, right? In this moment, Jen and I are going to give you a tool, which is this. When you're in the shite of it, okay, center yourself and go into your heart, even your gut. Men will go into their gut, women will go into their heart, and go in and say, what do I know to be true right now? What do I know?
There you go.
And whatever it is, whether it's I'm in panic or I'm scared or whatever it is, this deal is going awry, whatever is going on, be with it. And if you can be with that, then I don't know who said it, forgive me, but there was a great quote that said, all men's problems stem from the inability to sit in a room with themselves for 5 minutes and be silent. And that's what this work is about.
Being comfortable with that.
And I don't know if we'll ever be comfortable with it. I'm always uncomfortable.
It is. I call it the blank canvas in life when you don't know what that next step is. But that's the place where you can do the most creative work. You were talking about second chakra with me earlier. Tori, I don't even know how much you know about me, but you were spot on with that. I am an intuitive artist. I am an artist. I've always painted. I have the color of the second chakra all around me. I love that burnt orange color or just the vibrancy of it, and I can't get enough of it. I'm consistently doing that. But what I'm saying is that we can all do that when we're in that blank canvas. And this is what Tori's talking about what do you know to be true right now? Kind of put it out there on that canvas and feel it, see it, smell it, taste it, whatever. Take it for a test run.
And you're the artist of your life. And I'm going to tell you, and Jen, you and I know this, and I'm going to say this to everybody listening. The Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards, there's a reason that they are and have been. They go number 1, number 8, whatever. They up and down on Amazon. But that is not who I am any more than it's who your listeners are. That's just a gift I'm giving.
Yeah.
And if we can step into that idea that, you know what, I made more money from my self-publishing than I ever will from this. But why did I do it? Because I wanted people to be able to get it in all places of the world.
Yeah, see, that's a global healing expression that you brought into the physical. Right. And that's beautiful. Oh, I just had a little bit of a teary moment there. It was so beautiful.
And you know what?
Girl for a moment.
Are we all in that, Jen? I mean,
yeah.
And for those of you listening, you tune into Jen because you vibrate with her, right? People vibe with you, and it's our obligation as teachers, healers, leaders, whatever you want. I don't call myself a leader. I call myself a facilitator. Mm-hmm. I create the space, and you do the work. Because if you do it, you'll never forget it.
And it is such an amazing journey when we really just stop trying to avoid it and actually start to look at it. And you can take it. And, you know, when I say, you know, it is uncomfortable to be in those places where you don't know the next step because you're out of the box now, and that's where we learn the most.
It is.
It is so powerful to learn new things that could take you to the next level.
And you know what's funny is that for us, it's about that connection. For men, it's about the connection through sex, right? So if we talk to men in that language, what we're saying is, do you want freaking amazing sex?
Oh, I know they heard that.
Hello. Step into that energy, right? When we step into that high, I just got a third eye. Now, the third eye is our sixth sense, right? It's our knowing. It's our intuition. So you want like a mind-blowing sex? Step into that energy.
Well, wait a minute.
That's a different show, right? We got to go on into this.
Doesn't everybody want it? Not just the men. Hang on a minute.
Well, listen, we can, okay, don't take this the wrong way, but as women, if we're in our feminine energy, right? And a masculine energy walks in, it's like this. We are always ready, right? Don't take that the wrong way, women. I'm going to say this. We're ready. But what is it when a man walks in and he's ready? Ooh, that's sexy.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. I just get it.
And you know what? I love this painting that I have that I'm still working on, but it is literally what I was trying to do is spiritual energy is very much the sexual energy that you're feeling because that's a
Same
spiritual.
Thing.
Yes, it is. And it's very much a dynamic and incredible connection, probably one of the closest connections you'll ever feel in the physical body to that spiritual side of you.
And the men that get that,
I mean, it's amazing. And
the men,
and you paint that. I've got the painting, and when you keep blowing that swirl, that is what my painting looks like. It's got this swirl going. It's crazy. I'm going to send a picture of you so you can see what I'm talking about. But it's not even finished. I have like paintings everywhere that I have some finished and some not. But
you know what?
That's what it is.
That's the art. And you know, one of the things that men need is they need the ending. They need to know the end is fine and they'll be okay. And that's why they love sports, because every week they find out whether the team won or lost, and they're all right.
Have to go quickly. I just realized, boy, we are flying off the aircraft.
I know. Well,
Tori, thank you so much for being with us tonight on the Jenn Royster Show. I want to say much love and kisses and hugs and everything out there to all the guys, the women, everybody out there. We love you. Namaste.
You've been listening to The Jenn Royster Show, part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Join us every fourth Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern for a spiritual journey inward where hope and love bring healing to life's greatest challenges. Learn more about Dr. Jenn and pick up your free meditation gifts at jenroyster.com.